Hey Aries, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so take what works, leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this one, or even if I do, check your other major placements. We're starting off with the Oracle of Mystical Moments for a more intuitive vibe of where we might be going. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about cross-watching. When you're watching one of these for someone who is not yourself, it can work, I think, if you're close to that person and you know their day-to-day life. But where I think we can go a little awry is when we're cross-watching for someone we're not in their life with, and we're guessing and making assumptions. And it's great to have fantasies and all of that, but there's also a sense of maybe misleading yourself by thinking you might know something about them when you don't by watching these. So just wanted you guys to be a little bit careful with your hearts and your minds, and some little, I always say talk about mental hygiene here, but also some maybe spiritual hygiene and psyche hygiene as well here. Okay, oh sunny day. This is, you have a vision. You have a vision of something you want to see in the future, but you're the only one that can see it. Speaking of cross-watching, you're the only one that knows about this vision, is aware of this vision. There's definitely been some grief, right? We have the widow and the bride. So I think we've already had some experiences. Some of them have gone well, some of them have not gone well. We're having a bit of a fantasy, a bit of a vision, a dream of the future, and it looks very promising. We're very excited about it, but we might not have a lot of other people seeing the same things that we're seeing here. You could turn to your neighbor and say, do you see that? And they'd be like, see what? What are you talking about? This is your vision. This is your future. It looks great. It looks bright, but right now it's yours and yours alone. Here we have home in the sky. So there's some stagnancy, some stagnant energy here. We may have gotten very comfortable with a certain situation, or it's just not moving. We may be trying to hold tight, hold still, remain comfortable while this, while we're visioning, while we're dreaming here. So we're in dreaming mode. None of this has a lot of action to it. Neither of these. This is you dreaming, visioning a bright future, what you want to see. And this is you kind of staying put right now. You could fly off, you could be talking, you could be doing a lot of things, but there's a little bit of stagnant energy here is what I see. It's a little bit smoggy. We're kind of waiting on something on spirit, on the divine, on divine timing to move through here. That's what I always see when I see these balloons here and we're just kind of hanging out. We're waiting here for something else to move, for something to move us. I don't want to be, everybody gets in some stagnant energy, but with this visioning, I feel like you're using this stagnant energy pretty well to vision, to see something. I think that you could take action. I think you could take action on your own, but you're not really getting a strong intuitive hit about where or what that would be. And sort of a little bit of rule of thumb for me is if I'm not getting a strong intuitive hit, kind of just maintain where I'm at then, because of my intuition and yours too will let you know, well, if you're connecting with it. So I think we're waiting a little bit here on something else, and there's a bit of sense of getting comfortable. So you may be overly comfortable waiting. So I would just say with this, you've been waiting a long time, like this city needs to be cleared out with a nice wind, a nice breeze. The whole city is a little stagnant here. So I see you could take some action, but I don't see you being motivated to, and that might just be a natural process here. Or it might be something to look at and to pay attention to. There is some small intuitive vibe going on here, but I don't think you're seeing it, and it's just so faint too that there's a little bit of maybe even confusion here about what you should be doing, about what should be happening. If nothing's happening, should you fly off? Are we just waiting here? What's going on? So I see a little bit of confusion about if you're really getting into intuitive hit, or if you're just supposed to be waiting here, because it seems to have gone on for a little bit of a long time, right? There's smog. It's not just fog. It's not, there's like some level of toxicity, or not toxicity, maybe toxicity. There's some level of toxicity maybe getting mixed in here. The longer this all stays, the longer this goes on. It could be worry, confusion. It just kind of gets worse the more stagnant we are. I don't see, though, a strong, like, movement to clear it all out right here, or that you're supposed to be doing something. And I don't think that you're seeing either what you're supposed to be doing. You're dreaming, though. And then we have tiny triumphs. This is about role reversals. Things that are quiet start to roar. Your intuition, oh, I see. You're not seeing your intuition, but your intuition may be popping out at you, Aries, in a really funny way, or really attention-grabbing way. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so we've got this dream, we've got this stagnant energy. When it comes, though, it's going to come in. There might even be a little bit of a sense of humor, a sense of irony associated with it, but it's going to pop. It's not going to pass you by, the intuitive movement, or the what you should do, or what needs to happen. It's not going to, you're not going to miss it, right? In this one, you're worried that you're missing it. We see the moon back here talking about a little bit of intuition. Can we even see it? Is this energy too stagnant to even see what we should be doing? And I think a card is coming into some reassurance that that it is going to pop out, right? This is your intuition. This is a small part of yourself. This is your intellect that's usually ruling the roost, usually in charge of things, patrolling the field. And this is a little bit of this little small voice inside of you popping out, and I'm in charge today. And so I feel like you're going to get a strong, it's not going to be, this is not avoidable. And this is also going to override, it's going to be strong enough that your intellect's not going to be able to ignore it. It's going to have your brain by the claw, or whatever, you know. It's going to be big. It's going to come in big. And I feel like there might be a sense of irony about it. And it's just going to, I think, yeah. I think maybe there's something about the intellect here, just being sort of helpless in the face of this, or what's normally, how you normally make decisions and make choices and make your moves is going to take a little bit of a back seat. Maybe just for a moment, right? Maybe just for a moment. But there's a strong role reversal. And tiny triumphs too, maybe like small steps are actually big steps. So you may be thinking, oh, I'll just take this small step, and then it turns out to actually be quite a big step. So let's make sure I got this on the right. Okay, the card on the bottom there was the Five of Pentacles, which is a sense of poverty, being left out, feeling unsupported. All right, Aries. Ooh, okay. Here we have, in your recent past, we have the Ten of Wands here. This is something that's gone on for a long time. It's a burden. It might be a burden of other people's expectations, what other people wanted you to do. You sort of hit a wall on something, and it's time to let it go. It's just like, this is the place where people put their burdens down. This is the wall. Maybe you didn't exactly hit the wall, but you hit the wall. You came to the place where the burden is to be put down. You've carried it for a long time. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a good time, but it's really not yours to carry anymore. And you've come to, there's a sense of completion here with the 10, always with the 10, there's a sense of completion. Some sort of difficult journey that wasn't even your idea to begin with ends here. These 10 wands aren't you're not inspired by this. It wasn't a really fun thing for you, but it's over. This trip is over, this journey's over, you're done. And there's some sort of completion, some sort of finishing point of some sort of laborious task or trip that just wasn't your idea of a good time. So you're done with that. In your current situation, you have Two of Cups. So this has soulmate or energy here. And the way I perceive soulmate energy is that spark of finding something that resonates with you, that feels like a good connection, it feels clear, right? There's a clarity here that we don't necessarily see here, but we do get eye-popping clarity here of what's what. But there's a sense of clarity, there's a sense of connection, of having found something that feels right, that feels at home, and it could be a person, it could be a job, an activity, something that just resonates. Your soul remembers something, your soul remembers a song or some part of itself through this thing or through this person. So it's a very strong, well, the relationship may not be that strong, but the connection is. And it's also looking to me like it's a moment. There's a moment of deep connection here for you in your current situation. A moment away from like domestic chores. The connection feels strong, destined. Someone may be writing something about it. It really feeds your soul, though. There's something about this connection that feeds your soul. And there's also something about communication. It's deep, heartfelt communication that helps you feel very connected. It's a barrier. It's meeting at some sort of boundary, meeting at some sort of barrier or fence or wall. It's like there's no wall between you right now, and there's very clear communication between you and something else. It's very beautiful. I love the Two of Cups. Who doesn't love a good Two of Cups? Reminds you why you're here. In your, what's that issue here? Or no, in your inner landscape, things you're thinking about, worried about, Seven of Wands, having to defend yourself. You might be feeling very defensive or worried that whatever choice or decision you're making, right? If we're putting down this 10 of Wands and we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't what I ever wanted. This was something that had to happen or something that I felt obligated to do. I didn't want this though. There's a sense of maybe having to stand up for your right to put that burden down, perhaps, to let that go. You found something that connects with you much, much more. So, and it's going to be obvious, and it's going to very clearly feed you. And so there's a sense of maybe needing to, you have the higher ground. In Seven of Wands, you have the higher ground. What you have are naysayers, competitors, people that want to knock you off your pedestal, people that want to take you down, people that don't approve. And there's you making space for your intuition, making space for what you want, making space for what calls to you. So this is, you're really thinking about this. This could be something about, you know, this thing that you've connected with, this thing that you really want, and needing to fight for it, or maybe even needing to be a little territorial about it. This is a worry that you're having. You're worried that it's not necessarily true that you have to be territorial. It's not necessarily true that you have to be defensive or that people are going to come after you or people aren't going to like it. It's not necessarily true that that's the case, but that's what you're worried about and that's what you're thinking about. And you may be thinking about like how to phrase something, how to talk about something, how to do something, because if you're going to get blowback, which you're expecting some blowback, how do you go about, what's the best way to defend your territory, defend your right to make decisions about your life, your unique life? So you could be a little bit worried about that, especially if we're done with something that other people wanted us to do. We're done. They might not be done having us do that thing for them, but we are done. And then you're anticipating, because you found something else. You found, or something that you really do connect with. And so you're anticipating some blowback. You're anticipating other people being unhappy with this choice. What's at issue is the Six of Coins reversed. Something seems very unfair. Something seems very unbalanced. Could be financially. It seems like you're not getting what you're due here, or you're not, someone seems very stingy here. Or there could just be some sloppy finances, right? In the upright, we have some very calculated, we have giving and we have generosity, but it's also very calculated, very orderly. There's an order to this. So something may feel very disorderly or very, very disorganized, maybe some sloppy accounting. Maybe some stinginess. Maybe someone's being very stingy here. I did see the 5 of coins when I was prepping the deck for you. So, and that denotes, you know, being left out. So there could be something around work, money, anything you do your time with that just seems disorganized or seems unfair or unclear. It seems unfair or unclear. Or given that we have this 4 of coins, there could be some greediness going on here rather than the generosity, rather than a nice flow. There could be some stinginess and some greediness, because here we have this 4 of coins in your environment. Something about your environment seems very stingy. It could be a person, honestly, with the 6 of coins in the reverse. Or it could be a situation. It's like the situation may be requiring you to be very focused on one thing to the exclusion of other people. Again, we have other people not being happy with what's going on. So to the exclusion of other people, this is, right, she's very focused on her thing right now. And this one in particular, this card in particular, talks to me about a specific time period where focus really needs to be in a certain area in a certain way. Other people aren't going to like it. Other people want you to hang out, want you to party, but there's something in the situation that's demanding that you focus on it, right? This always looks like someone studying for their finals or studying for their, in some countries they have those like civil service exams and stuff like that. So someone's studying for something or prepping something for work and needing to jealously guard their own time and their own boundaries around their time and their energies. And that's the same with this. Is you deciding, someone here, this is you doing what other people want you to do, and this is a situation that's saying, actually, I have to take some time out. This always reminds me of like the laying in period with a new baby, a honeymoon period. It's not that the rest of your life is taking time out and away from people. It's that this particular thing needs a particular focus right now. So sometimes this card can also be about being a little stingy. There's so much more to give. But really with these wands here and with the 7 of wands of being worried about having to defend your choices, I feel like there's something here that's very disorganized around work and money. It's requiring you to get organized. It's requiring you to have a strong focus on something and to the exclusion of other things. And are these people going to be happy about it? You're really worried that they're not going to be happy about what you have to do here. Right. Again, though, there's a sitting down and getting to work situation. Oh my gosh, there's disorganization. I was seeing confusion and really not going anywhere. And that's what I'm seeing with these 2 cards. This disorganization and this confusion here around work or money. And then this need, this situation itself is demanding that you sit down and do some sort of work and be a little bit stingy with your time, being a little bit stingy with money. This could again be someone else that's thrown this out of balance, that's thrown the work, money, it's out of balance. The work situation is out of balance here. But it looks like you found something you really want and you might need to spend some time focusing on it, but you're worried about disappointing other people. Maybe you were supposed to go to a party and instead of going to the party, you're going to, do a work thing for a while. And as a lifestyle, this is not a sustainable lifestyle, but as a moment, this is a fine moment. Different aspects of our life always require, like relationships, babies, children, people we love, work, all of that in its own turn, in its own time for a limited time can require our sole focus. And that's okay. That keeps it interesting. That's the difference between a hamburger on your plate with all the different layers and like a hamburger smoothie, right? We just don't want the whole thing like all blended together. It's okay to enjoy, or a plate where there's different flavors on it versus like, well, it's the same thing as a smoothie, just so instead of blended, we get to focus on this and then focus on that. So something here is requiring your focus. And then we have the Temperance card. This is your to-do list. This is the energy you need to interact with. Oh, I kind of like this with this disorganization and the something needing your focus. There's a little bit here of Well, temperance to me, I mean, it's being patient, adjusting, and timing. So this could be like managing your time. Look, she's pouring it from cup to cup, and she is making a smoothie. This is like the smoothie making card, or I consider her my cosmic drink maker, right? She's gonna put the simple syrup and some bitters and she's gonna shake it up and blend it. So this is actually the blender. So maybe we are having a smoothie, but there's something in our environment. Well, eventually maybe it'll become a smoothie. I'm going to stop that metaphor because we're going through the digestive tract now in my mind, and we're making the smoothie in our stomach. You're the smoothie maker here. You're the divine timing. I think you're juggling a few things. Temperance to me can also mean like a back and forth and like a little bit of juggling here, a little bit of... So maybe you can blend some different parts of your life that you are worried that you must keep separate, but maybe there is some blending. But there's also just some patience, some divine timing. Again, right, patience and divine timing. We're waiting for that wind to come through. We're waiting for spirit to move in the situation. And this is patiently waiting on divine timing. But see, she is getting a message and she's listening to that message. So she's listening here. She's in the flow of things. Temperance is being in the flow of things, but there's an adjustment period. There's timing at work here. So something about managing your time, I think, and allowing things to kind of go back and forth. As you wait on divine timing, managing your time well. It does look like there is a message coming. But what are you doing in the meantime? Even if you're waiting for an important message, if you're waiting for something to come through, it doesn't mean you're out of the flow. Just because things aren't moving doesn't mean that you're out of flow, that you're out of the plan, just because things aren't moving and they're stagnant doesn't mean that something's wrong, right? We're waiting for this message. We're waiting for intuition to come through and tell us. We're waiting for a divine message from within or from without. And just because we're in a waiting period doesn't mean that we're out of the flow of things, right? She is standing in the flow, the cosmic flow here. But she's also waiting and listening. So maybe being in two places at once, and this is your to-do list, or being both understanding that you are both moving and you are waiting. And just because nothing's moving doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Because I feel like this is the message, right? Is going to pop out here. It's not going to be ignorable. It's going to pop out. But in the meantime, you're kind of holding down the fort. And then possible outcome, 8 of Swords, not wanting to move because you don't think you can. So there's a lot of stagnant energy here. This is stagnancy from the inside. So maybe things move from the outside, but you need to be ready to move when those things move from the outside and not let this time of stagnancy come forward to you in the future and be like self-limiting. Like, let's say the wind comes and this bird's still like, no, we got to stay here. Like, we've stayed here for a long time. So when you've been in a stagnant place for a while and something finally starts to move and it's really hard to get out of that stagnant place in your head where nothing's moved for a long time and then things start moving, and it can be a little bit of a shift to see that. It can be a little bit of a shift to see that. So this is, you're freer than you think, but you may have to deal with some crappy mantras or some perspective issues, the internal stuff. You may have gotten mentally stuck while the external machinery was a little bit jammed or a little bit confusing. We may have to deal with some self-perceptions of that are ramifications of that, a little, PTSD, using the vernacular, not the official diagnosis, but a little bit of that from a period of stagnancy, and then not feeling like you can move forward. So that may be a bit of a struggle. Also being so worried about what other people think and not wanting to defend yourself that you allow their expectations, which we've seen show up here, limit you. So this is about self-limiting beliefs. So just watch that going forward. When things do start to move, and right now we're just kind of, we're in the flow, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it. And we're waiting on divine timing, but we may not be feeling like it. But when things do move, make sure that your spirit and your psyche is able to get going again, and that you haven't adopted a bunch of self-limiting beliefs throughout this process of waiting. Okay. All right, Aries, I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for your likes, subscribes, and comments.